Have you ever just paused and genuinely asked yourself if you're stuck in a job without any real passion? Or maybe you find yourself constantly worrying about your life's true purpose, waking up feeling, aimless rather than actually energized. It's a massive modern crisis that so many of us face: burnout, exhaustion, and just that nagging feeling that there has to be more to the daily grind. But as we dig into the research today, we found a proven framework that not only gives us a reason to jump out of bed, but can literally help us live a longer, healthier life.
In today's Explainer, we're unlocking exactly that. We're exploring the incredible concepts from the best-selling book Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Héctor García and Francesc Miralles. We're going to unravel the fascinating mystery behind the people of Okinawa, Japan. Get this, according to the World Health Organization, these folks hold the record for the highest life expectancy in the entire world. And they don't just live long, they live beautifully, joyfully, and incredibly actively. So today, we're breaking down their exact methodology so you can apply it to your own life right away.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the deep philosophy of Ikigai, move into a practical framework to find yours, uncover those Okinawan longevity secrets, learn how to master flow at work, and finally, wrap up with the golden rules for a happy life.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the purpose of life. Ikigai.
So, Ikigai is this Japanese concept that translates roughly to the reason for being or the joy of always being busy with a meaningful purpose. The Japanese believe that every single person has an Ikigai. But here's the truly fascinating part. Finding it doesn't just make you smile more, it actually changes your biology. Research from our source material shows that having a clear purpose prevents the activation of genes that cause inflammation in your body. It literally slows down the cellular aging process. When you have a reason to live, your body physically fortifies itself to keep you alive longer so you can fulfill that purpose. How amazing is that?
So, knowing how powerful this actually is, it brings up the big question. Section 2, how to find your Ikigai. To discover your true Ikigai, you need to sit down, be brutally honest with yourself, and answer 4 essential questions. First, what do you love? Like, what gives you energy and makes you completely lose track of time? Second, what are you good at? What are your natural skills or areas where you've put in the hours to develop deep expertise? Third, what can you be paid for? Because let's be real here, you might absolutely love cleaning your own house, but no one is going to pay you a salary for it. And finally, what does the world need? How can your specific skills solve a real, tangible problem for other people?
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how those 4 questions interact. It's like a giant puzzle. When you combine what you love with what you're good at, you get your passion. When you mix what you're good at with what you can be paid for, that's your profession. What you can be paid for plus what the world actually needs becomes your vocation. And what the world needs combined with what you love, that's your mission. But your true Ikigai, that is the ultimate sweet spot. It's the absolute center point where all 4 of these elements intersect perfectly. If you're missing even one piece of this puzzle, you might have wealth but feel empty, or you might feel incredibly fulfilled but really struggle financially.
To help you actually locate that sweet spot, we have this incredibly practical 4-square time audit. You should totally draw this out for yourself. Basically, you map your daily tasks based on what you love doing versus what you dislike doing, and where you're an expert versus not an expert. The top left square, the stuff you love and are great at, that is where your true passion lies. The authors strongly urge us to focus our time right here on this top row. Now look, this doesn't mean you just up and quit your day job tomorrow if it falls in the bottom left must-do square. Instead, it means you purposefully carve out more time for that top row, nurturing it until it can slowly evolve into your Ikigai without risking your livelihood.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. Moving from mental self-reflection to physical action, here is Section 3, Japanese Long Life Secrets. Let's look at the daily habits of the longest living people on Earth.
The number 80% is absolutely legendary in Okinawa. This represents the rule of Hara Hachibu. What does that mean? It means they stop eating when they feel their stomach is exactly 80% full. They never ever eat to the point of feeling stuffed or lethargic. By practicing this incredibly simple form of portion control, the average Okinawan takes in only about 1,800 to 1,900 calories a day. It totally prevents the cellular damage and bodily stress that comes from overeating and trying to digest massive meals. And what exactly makes up those 1,800 calories? Well, let's explore these highly actionable dietary habits. First off, they eat 5 servings of varied, colorful vegetables every single day. In fact, a full 30% of their daily calories come strictly from veggies.
White rice is their daily staple, and they eat fish around 3 times a week. Crucially, they drastically limit their salt intake to just 7 to 12 grams a day, and they drink plenty of antioxidant-rich green and white tea. Also, sugar is incredibly rare there, which is exactly why obesity and diabetes are virtually unheard of in this region.
Now, what's really fascinating about this cultural contrast is that in the West, we generally view retirement as the ultimate finish line, right? You stop working completely, you seek total rest, you escape the grind. But in the Okinawan Japanese philosophy, there isn't even a word for retirement. The concept literally does not exist. They believe that stopping your life's work is actually detrimental to your health. Sitting idle physically ages your cells and invites disease. Instead, they stay active and purposefully busy with their Ikigai right until the very end. The goal isn't to stop doing things, it's to find things you never want to stop doing. And to stay active throughout our lives, we need to manage our daily tasks to sustain happiness rather than cause burnout. So let's jump into Section 4, Flow and Focus at Work.
To avoid work-related stress, you really must enter what psychologists call a flow state. And this requires 3 specific things. First, choose tasks that are slightly challenging and require some research. Not so hard that you just give up, but not so easy that you get bored out of your mind. Second, set incredibly clear objectives and deadlines before you even start. And third, and perhaps most importantly, strictly do one task at a time. The scientific evidence highlighted in our source material is completely definitive here. Multitasking absolutely ruins productivity. It fragments your attention and prevents you from ever reaching that highly satisfying, energized flow state.
All right, let's move to our final section. Section 5, Rules for a Happy Life. These are the golden rules passed down by Okinawan elders.
They have a few simple yet incredibly profound lifestyle rules to follow. First, walk at least 21 minutes every single day. Seriously, skip the elevator, take the stairs. Protect your sleep, making sure you get 7 to 9 hours a night. Participate in daily morning movements. Over in Japan, this is often Radio Taiso, which is a really popular radio broadcast that guides listeners through gentle stretching. Keep your fingers busy. Whether that's gardening, painting, or cooking, manual dexterity is heavily linked to brain health. And finally, smile, open your heart to your neighbors, and prioritize time with your friends. The elders emphasize that rising early, staying positive, and nurturing your community literally add actual years to your biological clock.
So, the crucial point we need to take away is this. Ikigai isn't just some nice, fluffy self-help idea. It is a proven psychological necessity. Consider the concept of logotherapy. It's a psychological approach focused on helping individuals overcome feelings of emptiness, neurosis, and depression by consciously discovering their life's purpose. When patients find their reason for being, it acts as an actual medical remedy, pushing them past mental blocks and despair. Basically, your purpose is your anchor.
We've covered the deep philosophy, the actionable steps, the Okinawan diet, and the mindset of lifelong purpose. But honestly, none of this matters if it just stays as theory. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative question. What is one small step you will take today to find your Ikigai and start living a more purposeful life? Will you map out the 4-square time audit? Will you stop eating at 80% full tonight? Don't just passively consume this information. Pick one thing, start today, and begin building a life you never, ever want to retire from.